Hey, once again, we're back. This is the OnFire show with myself, Darryl McKell Brooks.
Joe Ciano, Neil Schloss.
And it's a great Super Tuesday as always.
What day
It's
is it?
Super Tuesday,
February
February 24th. And we're still in Black History Month. And, we got to at least talk a little bit about that. But we're going to talk about, we got a guest coming on at 9 o'clock. Joe?
We got two guests coming on tonight. We've got Marc Clair, who is a blogger and a podcaster of a group called the Lions of Liberty.
Lions of Liberty.
They're Lions because they're all Penn State alums from the...
Oh, they're not Leos, huh?
Yeah, they're Nittany Lions, and they've come from all walks of the political spectrum. They were neocons, they were conservatives, they were progressives, and now they were converted by the Ron Paul movement into to be diehard libertarians, and they're out there fighting for liberty every day. And then we've got a guy named George Donnelly with a group called Shield Mutual Defense, which is about people voluntarily banding together to protect themselves. And he's also going to talk a little bit about juror rights.
Or how about jury nullification? Is he going to talk about that?
The jury nullification, right. Your right as a juror to judge not only the guilt or innocence of the person, but the justice of the law itself.
Correct.
Wow.
And I love fighting the law.
Mm-hmm.
You do. We know that.
I do.
Oh, yeah, and I'm against all law. So, well, not all laws, but it's. I've been fighting, and we've all been fighting.
You fought the law, and the law won.
Yeah.
Well, I think nature's law is on the top of my list when it comes to the highest law of the land.
Yes, and it's great that we're here on Tuesday. All of us, we're back intact. Usually we start off about how our week was, the weekend was. So usually we'll start off with Joe. How was your weekend, Joe?
Well,
oh boy.
We were supposed to go see. There's a place in Wilmington, Delaware called the Queen, which is associated with the World Cafe in Philly, the University of Pennsylvania station, and they were having a benefit concert, which we were supposed to go to. And if you remember, Saturday night was the night of much snow and a lot of ice.
Yeah.
So we didn't make it there. I had hoped that they would cancel the event or reschedule it, since it was they were going to be playing the music of 1975 with all local Wilmington and Delaware artists, but it didn't happen. And I posted nasty notes on their Facebook page, and then one other person did, and then we were hung out to try. Nobody else supported us, so we stayed in and watched it. I actually did it on a closed circuit. It wasn't a bad show, but we watched it on actually cable. Not cable, what do you call that? The Internet, like this show. Yeah,
right.
We watched the streaming on the Internet, and it was a good show, but they should have, I think they should have taken the safety of the audience in mind, because it was all snowy and then really glassy ice by the time the whole thing was over.
Oh wow, that was pretty good. You doing anything for Black History Month?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to bullshit.
Oh, okay. How about yourself, Neil?
My weekend was great. We did. There was a fundraiser for our school, the Millstone Township Foundation for Educational Excellence, held a gambling night Saturday night. Turned out to be a fun night. Unfortunately, with the snow, a few people couldn't make it, but the event was great. I, of course, thank the MTFEE for what they do. And then on Sunday, it was wrestling.
Oh, wow.
It was the final tournament of the Grapevine League, and it was awesome. Well run. The kids aged from 4 to 8th grade, 4-year-olds to 8th graders, so it's around 13, 14-year-olds. They wrestled throughout the day, and it was great. I was very proud of all my wrestlers from my team. My son, Parker, had 2 great matches, and Monroe also. Fantastic. Very proud of both of them. Proud of the Millstone Rec wrestling team.
You're on the school board, right? Are you on the school board?
I'm on the school board. So we had a school board meeting yesterday, and we voted on the policy for...
Did you pledge allegiance to the flag?
I showed up late, so I didn't get to stand up for the pledge.
Okay.
But you're always are you going to always ask me this question on standing up for the pledge?
I was listening to the show that on the a couple nights ago in the podcast, and we talked about that thing of.
Yeah. No, it's just funny because, of course, now when the pledge, it's again, you pledge your allegiance to this entity, which, of course, I'm trying to figure out if it's true or not.
Yeah.
So jumping back to before this weekend, Wednesday was my trial.
Okay.
My court case for my driving hands-free on a cell phone. which is what the police officer said in the video,
Okay.
that I was driving hands-free, and then he gave me a ticket for that. So
How much was the ticket?
$175 is what the prosecutor wanted
Wow.
me to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, for anyone that has never been through the experience, again, for me, I'm trying to do low-priced tickets because the end result won't cost me much if I lose. So this ticket was, I go into the prosecutor's office, and she wanted me to pay the $175 or plea bargain down. And I tell people, I'm done plea bargaining, I'm done paying the ticket. I'd rather just claim my innocence through the law and put a motion in for dismissal. So this dismissal, the prosecutor would not give me. The judge, I told her that I did put the motion in, so she's got to give me a ruling on that. So I'm waiting for the ruling. That should be within this next week or a week from now. So I'll know if she threw out the ticket. But then in addition, boys, you'll like this. And I told Joe that so besides putting in the motion for dismissal, I put in a subpoena. It's called the subpoena ducis tecum, which is just simply a document requesting information. It's like, send me these documents. So I'm going to wait to see if they send me the documents. And in addition, knowing that they're not going to answer, I did put a redress of grievance in, a First Amendment redress a grievance complaint against the state of New Jersey. And the best part of it, Joe, what did I say I'm doing? I'm suing them for how much money?
You were suing them for what, $50,000?
$50,000 to start off with, plus ongoing costs. It's
hourly fees.
At my billable rate. So on the document, it's $50,000 plus the $500 billable rate that I'm charging them for this. Because, again, it's a waste of my time. They should have thrown the ticket out because, again, they don't have the law behind them. They have the statute or the code. And I even said to the prosecutor, does the Constitution supersede state codes and statutes? And she's like, yes, but that book that she tapped on, she goes, but the law from the state says you have to pay for this ticket. And I said, that book's written by man. It's not written by the idea of freedom and liberty, what the founders wanted. So it was a good conversation with the woman. I was trying to be as professional as can be because, again, courteous I think goes a little bit better than other times when I've kind of yelled at them because I do want to know the answer. And I said to the prosecutor, look, my goal is to understand this as a CPA, as a professional, so that I can give the best advice to my clients. And so we will see what happens, boys.
Oh, okay.
We'll see if I got to send my invoice for this past week to them.
Yeah.
So I'm trying.
We don't want to read about you in the newspaper.
For what? Winning the case? I would love to see you read that
Yes,
article.
definitely.
So I won the case and they paid me my money.
So as you're standing in front of the judge and this drags out, are you reminding you that you're costing the taxpayers another $500 as this drags on?
Well, I told the prosecutor, listen, I'm giving you an out with the motion to dismiss. You have the out. You could just dismiss it. Let me go. Let me get back to preparing tax returns for my clients or helping them defend themselves against the IRS.
Right.
I mean, any of those services I try to provide.
Back during the OJ trial, I remember one of the cable news anchors was they ran into the defense lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, set up in Martha's Vineyard. So he goes up to Alan. He says, Alan, question, do you actually bill by the question? He goes, yes, I do. He goes, well, how much do you charge? He goes, $1,000 a question. Then Dershowitz turns and goes, that's 2 questions. Do you have any more?
Well, listen, of course, if you love what you're listening to, if you're joining the show for the first time, you can join in the chat. Go to the chat room on hamiltonradio.net. Click on HR chat room. Join the chat. There are 3 guests under their guest names. But, again, if you want to come in as your true name, you can register, and Ruben here will approve you, and you'll come on in. So, of course, we want to welcome Steve from Virginia. Our boy Steve has been joining us every week. Steve, I don't know if the link is working yet for the coffee cups, but trust me, I am working on that with Daryl.
Yes, we'll definitely have it up by this week.
And, of course, the Chicken Man has joined us, Freddie.
Chicken Man?
Freddie.
Okay.
I went to his house. I told you that I saw about 150 chickens in this room that he is raising, so that it's just an amazing factory that he's producing. And he also talked to me today about how the chicken society, there's a lot of libertarians in the chicken society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, we want to thank our sponsors, Joe, right?
The New Jersey Libertarian Party.
And, we appreciate them being part of, I guess, approving our message.
Yes.
Approving our message. We approve their message. They approve ours.
And that's a good thing.
Oh, definitely. And we want to please leave a comment on the listener response page on HamiltonRadio.net and all about our show on the Hamilton Radio. And, my weekend was pretty good. I was kind of a little upset with the snowstorm coming in. I was hanging out with Jay. And we were at the Cherry Hill Mall, and she was looking at some dresses. I don't know if you know the date. It's September 19th.
September 19th.
Wow. Oh, and we're going to have a hell of a bachelor party on that.
Should we talk you out of it, or should we let you stay?
No, let me keep me. It's too far in it. It's deep.
It's the real deal.
Deep impact. Yeah,
Good.
And so I talked to Joe. I haven't talked to you yet about. We were having probably have an OnFire whatever bachelor party and invite all the freedom lovers and libertarians and you name it, and this all have the bachelor party hangover style. Hangover style. But my weekend was pretty good. One of the interesting things is Black History Month. It's happening right now, and I was watching CNN. And it bothers me. They always talk about how Malcolm X went to the Mecca, and he saw the first time he ever seen really white Muslims and black Muslims all together. And he really opened his eyes. But they don't ever talk in how Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam were out to get Malcolm X because Malcolm X spoke out about Elijah Muhammad and some of the things he was doing with the young girls and pregnancy. And it bothers me, though, but how they never talk about Malcolm X went to Mecca 2 years before that. And that wasn't his first Hajj. And he knew what was happening over there. And he came back and still was in the Nation of Islam. But they never tell us that Malcolm X was poisoned in Egypt. By the American.
Was poisoned?
Poisoned, yes. They had a pump his stomach. He was in Egypt. They poisoned him in Egypt, the United States government.
Now, where do you have that information?
It's all you got to do is Google it.
Google it?
Yeah, the Malcolm X story.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was poisoned in Egypt, and they don't tell you about that. And that was one of the things. And the CIA and the FBI was the ones behind it. And the fact was that he was in Africa talking to the Africans about the American government, how the American government is taking your oil. They want your, the land. They want the greedy Americans, and how at the nation. United Nations, there were Africans speaking out about what Malcolm was saying. So they never. But what I'm saying is they never talk about the role of the CIA and the FBI planning against Malcolm X, and it's one of those things that I'm kind of like wondering why, because they never put it in the Malcolm X movie. The one that Spike Lee did. They never talk about how the CIA poisoned him.
I don't remember that either from
and they don't talk about it.
Because I read the original, the James Earl Jones. He's the one who wrote that. Was it James? No. Yeah, what?
Yeah, but James. No. Alex Haley.
Alex Haley. Who wrote the book? I read that. I don't remember anything about that. And then then I read the Elijah Muhammad biography, which was written by a guy from the university, like one of the North Carolina universities down there. And he didn't mention that either. But it's always. We don't know. We never heard about that. We heard that. We know that. We know that the FBI was after Dr. Martin Luther King, and they were in everybody's business. Let's face it, they're in our business now today.
Well,
who killed him? Was it Farrakhan? Was it Elijah Muhammad? Who was behind that?
Well, they have
the CIA.
Well, no, they have the guy now. He's out. The one who killed Malcolm X. He's out. They had a story on him. He lives in Newark.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes, he lives in Newark.
Well, speaking of the FBI. I get a call on Wednesday after the show from a former FBI agent.
Yeah.
And he, of course, says to me, hey, I was going to call in because Mark Stevens' strategy, there's a guy in Wisconsin, and I haven't confirmed this. I think it's Wisconsin that was on trial for following Mark Stevens' procedure.
Now, who's Mark Stevens?
Mark Stevens was the guest last week who talked about the IRS and the question on jurisdiction and so forth. And, I mean, I greatly appreciate him coming on. It does take brevity to talk about this stuff because, trust me, it's like you feel like you're David versus Goliath, and Goliath is definitely a huge monster to take on. So anyway, so he tells me that a guy was being sentenced for 17 months, and the judge said during the sentencing that they should get in touch with Mark Stevens to take half his sentence for him. So I don't know if that's true or not, but at the same time, I do want to report that that's what I was hearing from a former FBI agent. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I truly appreciate Mark Stevens coming on. I want to have him come back on because, of course, after listening back to the show, it was like we still didn't get to the answer. I mean, his points were great about just question jurisdiction, stick to the point on asking how do they have rights over you. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if what paper he served to the IRS or that part of the process. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we'd love to have Mark Stevens back on. And
yeah, I mean, it's when these guys come out and speak about the government, the government is in everybody's business, and we have a serious government there in America. It's going around the world. They put in dictators and overthrown countries, and if you just look what happened to Mubarak, and look what happened to Saddam Hussein, look what happened to Gaddafi, and it's terrible some of the things that are happening right now around the world. And as people starting to question, are we planning for another World War III? You see what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia. You see what's happening in South America. You see some of the problems going on with major serious problem with ISIS. And who's behind that? And it's one of the things, Joe, is when you're watching all these things are happening, it's like it's what's going to happen next. And that ISIS just came out and they talked about the malls that we have, and they talked about in the United Nations the United Kingdom, the malls in the United Kingdom,
right? And
they talked about the malls was happening in America, and people are frightened, and we're coming to a situation.
I think a lot of that is, I think a lot of that stuff is for the
propaganda.
Is for the home, is for the home crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Putin's doing the same thing over in Russia, talking about how they've taken some knocks over there. Their economy's in a slump, so he's like pumping them up, telling them about what a great country we are. We've got all this military might and all this swagger, and I think it's really meant for the home team, And I think the same thing with ISIS. They talk this stuff and all that. They have no real capabilities. Okay, pretty much you and I could go blow up them. We're not going to blow up them all, by the way. But anybody who's anybody, and it doesn't take a lot to go out and do a handful of terrorist acts. But are they a real threat to the United States? No. But they want to whip up enthusiasm among their crowd. Say, look, we're not talking about we're not nickel and dime players. We're talking big time stuff. I think that's what I think that's their whole. That's their whole game.
Oh yeah, and when it comes to Putin, I tell everybody you should go. I'm telling the listeners, go to PBS, and on PBS they have the documentary about Putin's Way. It's on Frontline PBS, and it tells you everything about Putin, how he got started, and this rise of power, and how much he's worth. I mean, the guy's probably worth close to $500 million.
He's a gangster.
Straight up, Putin is a straight up gangster. He's a straight up gangster, and it talks about how he got started and some of the people he had knocked off,
right?
And how he kept his power. He become president, and then after 2 terms he sat back and he put his own crony in, and then became president again.
But you talk about gangsters, and I know you were following this before, and I was watching Boardwalk Empire up till now. But you just mentioned all these people like, that there's Saddam Hussein and and his various governments that we set up all around the world. Mm-hmm. And this just reminds me of Boardwalk Empire, because we set these people up, and while they're useful to us, we're all we're in bed with them.
Yeah.
And then when they turn not useful to us, what do? We kill them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If we're not gangsters, if their government's not gangsters, who are?
Yeah, we haven't killed.
They dress it up in the flag and liberty and and all that. But at the end of the day, we manipulate these guys, and then when when they get out of line, they get whacked.
Yeah. And what's happening right now is it's one of the things I want to see what's happening right now in the Ukraine and what's happening in Russia and with Putin and what when is he planning on getting whacked? And if he's going to get whacked, who will whack him?
I think that's going to be a hard one to pull off.
That's a hard one to pull off.
I mean,
Well,
this is not a second-rate banana. Yeah.
If I could thank a listener in the the chat room, guest 13949, he did send a hyperlink to the Malcolm X poisoning story that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's me!
It's out of the MIT EDU. It's the MIT's oldest and largest newspaper. It's an article written by Bryce Smith. It's called The Buried Truths of Martin and Malcolm. I have not had a chance to read it.
Yeah,
but
you have to read it. I mean, it's a truth that Malcolm was poisoned when he went to Egypt and he had his stomach pumped. And that's one of the things is like he even said it's bigger than the Nation of Islam, because how can a Nation of Islam get, at that time he knew who the FOI was that controlled the nation. They were like the military, control for the Nation of Islam. And he said, basically, how could people that I brought up touch me in Egypt? And they had no power to touch him in Egypt, to poison him. And so that's one of the things is like once you go with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, once you go international, they don't care about you speaking out about a toilet here, protesting.
So we need to take our show overseas now, we could be
speak
heard
about,
overseas.
Yeah, but once you speak about international issues and you speak about money, overthrowing the money and changing, then you're a threat. You're a serious threat to the economics of American government. And so, I mean, that's how it is. And we've been, and when you look at, we talked to Joe on the show a few times, when you look at dictators, and with the dictators, how they basically take American money or American to go to hell, okay, then, there's a big problem now. We have to get rid of you.
Yeah, well, for me, in the Austrian economic theories, right, which is free market, which is taking government out of the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, an economy is still going to happen, no matter if the government's in place or not. I mean, you're going to have an exchange between one person to another, and there's value. But it's a question of, do you exchange value via the Federal Reserve note in your pocket, or do you exchange it via, as Fred and I would do, rooster for hen?
That's the best way, rooster for a hen.
A rooster for a hen is usually a good choice. The rooster's always cock-a-doodle doing, but I mean, again, I break it down to that logic because it does simplify the matter for people that aren't people that haven't studied the business cycles and understand free market versus Keynesian philosophies. So, like I say, the goal for us having these conversations here is to talk about freedom and liberty, make sure people are aware of how to defend themselves, and, of course, have 2 hours fly by, and it's like the best 2 hours of our lives.
Oh, definitely. I was reading something, and also, isn't the Federal Reserve Charter is up this year?
That's what they say, yeah.
That's what they say. What's going to happen?
I don't know, but speaking of the Federal Reserve, I was handed a business card today from a gentleman who is vice president and a secretary at the Federal Reserve Bank. So I'm hoping to reach out to him and have him as a guest on the show.
Which one is he from, New York or Philadelphia, to say?
Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be great. I hopefully he replies to me, and like I say, we can get him on the show, have an honest discussion on the matter, so that people who are listening learn more. Of course, can call and ask questions, and if you want to call in, you call in to 609-800-1003.
1003.
1003.
We want to also talk about the coming up April 16th Tax Day rally. And at the State House, it'll be at the outside the atrium, outside where what is that? It's not the State House. It's not in front of the State House, but the Annex building.
The Annex.
Outside the Annex building. And we'll talk about a few speakers. We have Dr. Alida Eck. She will be speaking. A great patriot, another patriot, Robert L. Vyden Jr. He's part of the, Bob's little
sporting job.
Sportish, yeah. He supports the NRA. William Temple, he's the guy that dresses up like a patriot and he goes all over the country and speaks out. He's probably, he'd probably be at CPAC. He was at CPAC. Matter of fact, CPAC is coming up this weekend. Bill Ames, the Ames, him and his Barbara Ames, they're very patriot. They talk about the government and the state government and taxes and education and understanding the whole government and how it's run. And right now they're training people they're training people for classes on understanding law and government. And we got Patrick McKnight, chairman of the Libertarian Party. He's speaking. Barbara from Harlem. I'm sure you've seen Barbara from Harlem.
Barbara from Harlem,
Barbara
yeah.
from Harlem. And we have you know who Barbara from Harlem is?
I don't.
Oh, you got to Google her.
Yeah?
She's pretty wild. She's
She's got
a
YouTube
patriot.
shows?
Yeah, YouTube show. Yep.
Okay.
And a big following in Harlem. And she's a conservative, African-American conservative woman in Harlem. And, you know, she tells it like it is. Also,
Is that out of the ordinary Harlem conservative?
Yeah. I don't know. She's old. It's old style.
I mean, from
most of the African Americans, the older generation, are somewhat conservative.
Yeah, but we also, from what you say, being in Trenton and being conservative and activist like you are, it's not too often you find people like that.
But there are a lot like that, but they don't speak out because most of the people who are conservative are the older generation. I'm talking about maybe 45 and older who grew up in a certain way, came up from the South. You know, they're somewhat conservative family values, against gay marriage and certain other things. Alan J. Cannon, he was the former deputy mayor of Hightstown.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long ago? Because it was probably before I bought in Hightstown.
Oh, okay. It was about...
had to have been before 2008. What's his name?
Alan Cannon.
Alan Cannon. I don't remember him being in Hightstown.
Oh, Hightstown? Is it Hightstown? It
might not be Hightstown.
It's one of those towns out there. He's
Robbinsville, East Windsor, West Windsor.
No. He is... Maybe it is Hightstown.
I mean, if it's...
Deputy mayor. He was deputy mayor.
What's his name?
Alan Cannon.
Alan J. Cannon.
And the next, Doreen Finkel. Doreen Finkel has been an activist in New Jersey, and she has a show. She's a pretty good talk show host. Her and Mark, what's the guy? Mark what? Her and Finkel, and it was Mark something. I can't think of his name. Also, Bobby Bowden. He was the one who, if you know about him, he speaks out about education, and he had that great documentary a few years ago.
Yep, The Cartel.
The Cartel.
And he was circulating an interesting Facebook post today.
Oh yeah.
There's a case in California, and it's going to the Supreme Court, and there's a public school teacher there who wants dispensation from California employees or the teachers, but it would apply to everybody across the country, not to have to join the union or pay dues in order to teach in the public school system, which then all public employees would then also, if she wins that case, would have the right to get out of the unions.
Oh, all right, definitely. We have Reverend Kraft. He's also speaking, and he's a powerful speaker.
Hopewell.
Yeah,
2 minutes,
Hopewell, right?
Hopewell.
I said
2
Hightstown.
minutes. 2 minutes for our break.
All right, we got 2 minutes for the break.
Hopefully Mark's calling
he's
in.
He's a Democrat, but he's tired of the educational system. He speaks out against Common Core. And he's definitely going to, talk about that message about, even he's speaking out about the city of Camden. Now, the Camden educational system is so terrible because he grew up in Camden, went to Camden High, and they're having the same problems all over the city. And it's
that could be our guest.
But also, we got, like I said, Barbara Ains, we got William Temple, we got ourselves, Joe, me, and Neil. We're also speaking, but it's great that we're going to have a program to speak out about the gas taxes, Obamacare, and Common Core, and we're going to have a panel discussion in one of the state annex buildings, inside the annex buildings. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
Excellent.
On April 16th. We want everybody to check out, go to OnFire News Network. That's onfirenn.com, and you get to see all about our tax day event. And and also you can donate, but we're going to be talking about that later on. We're going to go into a quick station break. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be right back. This is OnFire News, OnFire Show at HamiltonRadio.com. .net.
We'll be right back. This is the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net. This is Neil Schloss. Tune in to the OnFire Show. It's Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 24th. Special guest Marc Clair from Lions of Liberty, right here on HamiltonRadio.net, channel HR2.
Congress is considering more gun legislation. In all the debate, they continue to ignore the fact that states allowing citizens to carry handguns have a 24% lower violent crime rate. If you believe that the right to self-defense is important to our freedom, then you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. That's 1-800-ELECT-US. The information is free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle. Are you feeling sluggish by lunch, or is the lunch you had making you feel sluggish? Do you play sports and need an extra push during the game? Are you a college student and need to stay up late to do those reports? Well, why not try Rebound FX by Longevity? Nowadays, you not only need a sports drink to provide you with quick, sustained energy, but you also need a drink that will supply you with the essential nutrients that need to be replenished to support an overall healthy body. Unlike other sports drinks, Rebound FX is a high-energy drink that offers a balance of antioxidants, natural herbs, and important minerals, including Longevity's plant-derived minerals blend. Rebound FX is rich in nutrients and antioxidants such as vitamins A, C, and E. It also contains high doses of essential B vitamins. And don't forget the Rebound FX Sports Energy Collection. Make sure that you're always equipped with fuel for exercise, long days at work, or any other activity requiring sustained energy. Rebound FX comes in a variety of blends to best suit your needs. You can keep some Rebound FX stick packs in your gym bag or purse while on the go, and cans or liquid supplements stored in your fridge. Rebound FX will always be at the palm of your hands for a natural energy boost. And don't forget, Rebound FX is more than just a sports drink, it's absolute performance. So purchase your Rebound right now on HamiltonRadio.net and click on Longevity's banner. When you purchase a Rebound, don't forget to buy some for your family, your friends, your teammates, and so on. Remember, Rebound is for everyone. A new advanced gym just opened right here in Hamilton, New Jersey. Primal Gym, New Jersey. They feature martial arts, combat sports, youth programs, strength and fitness, and private intense training. Primal Gym. Learn how to protect yourself in self-defense. Primal Gym is located at 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Again, that's 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Call them at 609-736-2307. Again, that's Primal Gym, New Jersey, PRIMALGYMNJ.com. Training everyday people to be champions.
Over 500,000 American men are in prison today for nonviolent crimes. Many billions of your tax dollars are spent to keep them there. If this is not your idea of how to support the American family, you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. That's 1-800-ELECT-US. The information is free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle.
If you want whole foods and more natural products while making your family healthier, visit 2285475.myforevergreen.org. That's 2285475.myforevergreen.org. Do it today.
Welcome back to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
We're back with the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, what's going on? We got a special guest in today. And he's coming on, and he's a friend of Joe's, Line of Liberty.
Marc Clair, yeah.
Right.
About 4 years ago, during the, 2 years ago, right? The last Ron Paul campaign, 2012, I walked into a bar in East Hampton, New Jersey, and there was a Ron Paul meeting going on, and there was a guy there who gave me a card for the Lions of Liberty. And I was like, who are these guys? He goes, oh, we're bloggers and this and that. And it took me like about a year and a half to find them. But then when I did, I discovered that there was this really cool very professional-looking blog site with great articles, that there was a podcast associated with it, and there was a guy named Marc Clair behind it. So I kind of, as we were trying to get our act together, I would send him notes and say, ask him for advice about podcasts and all that, and he's been always very gracious and helpful to me. And I wanted to have him on because his mission is a little bit like the same of ours, is to spread the cause of the word of liberty, and to do it from the grassroots, and to, shoot over the heads of the mainstream media and bring the real issues and the real points of view to the table. So, Mark, if you can, I know we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. If you could hear me, welcome to the OnFire show, and why don't you just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself and the Lions of Liberty?
Sure, Joe, and Daryl, Neil, nice to make your acquaintance as well. I believe that was our buddy Dom Sidoti, who was faithful a few years ago in that bar that passed along our information, and I knew that investing in those business cards would pay off in some way, and it finally has all these years later. Now I'm on fire with you guys. But yeah, as you mentioned, we met at Penn State in the let's say the late '90s, early 2000s. We don't need to be too specific, but we overlapped. We were all friends there. We were members of the same fraternity, Phi Kappa Tau. And I don't think we were ultra political in college or anything like that. I mean, we probably gathered around and tossed back a few beers, watching the presidential debates and that kind of thing. But nothing too serious, of course, except for at least the end of my time there. 9/11 happened, and that's an event that I think got a lot of people thinking a little bit differently. Got a lot of people questioning some things, looking into things a little more, and it certainly did that with me. I started to just kind of wonder, what the hell's going on in the world? that I don't understand what this event is. I don't understand why it's happening, and that really made me become political in a way. It made me really research, United States foreign policy, just current events in general. It really got me tuned into things, as I realized that there's literally life and death matters at stake here. Politics is more than just a TV show. It's more than just watching debates, which is what it always was to me. That's what kind of got the ball turning for me, and I could spend hours telling you all about my political progression since then. But the very Cliff Notes version is, as you mentioned, we kind of, in the 2008 Ron Paul campaign, I think a few of us sort of came together and realized we kind of liked this guy, liked some things he was talking about. That kind of started the ball rolling with us, engaging again, I guess. I mean, we were all friends, but over the years, you grow apart from people after college. We all did our own things. We all mostly lived in different places, so that kind of brought us back together in a way. And having that conversation over the years and years, we would find ourselves sending 9, 10, 20, 30, 40 emails back and forth all day long. And I think at one point, I believe it was John Odermatt, one of our great contributors, he said, why don't we just start a blog and put all this stuff up there? We're spending so much time talking about it anyway. And that seemed to make sense. So the rest, I guess, is history. Now, you mentioned our nice-looking website. It wasn't always nice looking. We started off with just a very standard sort of blogger thing, and anybody can do that, and I always encourage people to not worry about appearance, not worry about how things look, or having the finest tuned broadcast or the best sounding podcast in the world. Just get started. If you have something you're passionate about, if you want to have this conversation, just do it, and the rest you can kind of learn as you go. And I'm no expert I'm no professional writer, I'm no libertarian scholar, I'm no professional podcaster. I don't consider myself an expert on any of this stuff. I consider myself just another guy who's really trying to push this conversation forward. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're not trying to dictate how we think the world should be. We're not trying to, just give sort of libertarian purism test or anything like that. We're really just trying to make a conversation about it, and that's what I try to do with our show, with the Lions of Liberty podcast. I try to have interesting guests on. I know that's the kind of thing you guys are trying to do as well. So I'm glad to see that we have this technology available nowadays. We have all these means available to communicate with each other, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, Mark, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, of course. As a Ron Paul supporter myself, it's nice to see the activism that turned on to people. Like, it was waking up their apathy, as Nate Cox would say. You said you graduated in 2001?
I graduated in 2002, actually. Yeah, just shortly, I guess about a year after 9/11.
All right, so you're currently in your mid-20s, right?
I'm in my mid-30s.
Oh, mid-30s, okay.
Man, I wish I could have paused time like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to pause time and enjoy what I've learned from Ron Paul and put it into good use. So
You seem so intelligent. We assumed you graduated at 15 or 16.
yeah. I mean, you were a Ron Paul supporter, so you're at genius level apparently. So.
Right. Well, I actually first started reading Ron Paul, I think even before 9/11, because a good friend of mine in college, he appears on a few of our podcasts, Howie Snowden, he actually just told me about this guy because he was a page in college, a congressional page in high school, not for Ron Paul, but Ron Paul was one of the few congressmen, he said, that he would go into his office and just have chats with him, and so he was always telling me about this guy, Ron Paul. It wasn't even that as much in a political, in sort of a political way, just telling me this guy is great, you should listen to him. I actually started reading Ron Paul during college just because my friend was telling me so much about him. So in a way, the ball got rolling a lot earlier, way before the presidential campaigns. And I almost fell out of my chair when I read a headline on Yahoo News saying Ron Paul was planning to run for president. That just blew me away.
Yeah, well, when 12 came around, I already had 4 years of kind of reading his books. So he's a very, very good educator on the principles of the Constitution, freedom, liberty, understanding of the role of government. But there are some questions in our chat room that are coming in. Of course, what do you think about the FCC pending legislation that's coming out with the net neutrality? Mark?
Well, again, that's with everything. I'm not, nor do I claim to be an expert on everything, but in general, yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about it because I'm concerned about the government really controlling anything, to be honest. Now, whenever the government has really a monopoly or attempts a monopoly over a certain industry, well, that means that industry is no longer, if it ever was, catering towards the customers. It's not catering towards the average citizen. It's going to cater towards however the government sort of crafts it. But in this case, I don't want to gloss over the issue and just say, no, net neutrality is terrible. I think it probably is in our modern context, but I think we have to also sort of recognize why there is a call for that kind of thing. And we always talk about how, things should be put back to the free market. But we don't have a free market. We have something very, very far from a free market. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that I have slow internet right now. Not really slow, but compared to what exists, compared to what we could have. And why is that? It's because the industry is so corporatized. There's such a crony aspect to it that it's nearly impossible to get competing services in your area. At most, you might have one or two cable companies that will offer you cable or internet in one sort of region. And it's very difficult to be a mom and pop cable company or a mom and pop internet service provider. So there are legitimate reasons why people call for some kind of action to make things appear more fair. Now, I don't think the actual actions that they're planning to take are necessarily what's going to help us, but I think it's important whenever we look at these issues to analyze, to do more than just say, free market, because if you take away the net neutrality, you're not left with a free market after that. You're left with a very distorted, very cronyistic market, and that does need to be addressed, even if I don't really think that what the FCC is going to try to do is the proper way to address it.
Right. Well, we have another question from Steve from Virginia, which is, of course, the generic question of what has the government ever created or run well?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Yeah, Steve from Virginia, of course, asked the question, what has the government ever created or run well, I should add to that question.
When has a government ever been created or run well? Is that the question?
Elections.
No, what? What's that?
Elections.
Elections they've created, yes. Yes. So, no, Steve's asking, of course, what are things that you think the government has created and run well?
And it currently does run well.
And yes, or ever did run well.
Ever did run well.
I mean, I don't like to look at things as in terms of, we always hear these sort of common lines. Basically, what I like to do is if I hear that it's a Republican talking point, I try to analyze it and try to back away from it a little bit. So, a Republican talking point is government is inefficient. Government can't do anything right. And that may be true in our current context but I think the real source isn't necessarily, you'll have a lot of people giving the economic reasons, the utilitarian reasons. not to have government or not to have certain industries regulated or controlled by government. But I really think that's a slightly misplaced focus because, I mean, what is government essentially? If we break government down to its most basic concepts, I have a house. I own my house. I don't really, but, we're using hypothetical here. Let's just say I actually owned my house and I didn't rent it. And I'm essentially the governor of my house. I can set the rules there. So, and that, its most base level is government from a sort of concept viewpoint, if that makes sense. So I don't want to decry the concept of government. I think human beings should have government. They should come together. They should create common rules. The problem is coercive government. The problem is when you have tyrannical government, which is what we have. And the reason for that is because most of the people in this country, in most countries, in the entire world, don't really have a strong sort of belief in individual rights. They don't have a real strong conception of that. And I know I might be dodging the question a little bit, and I will get back to it. But my real point is I really don't like to harp on the government can't do this, the government can't do that. And that's true of our government, but the key to me, at least, is the fact that the government operates from a point of aggression. It's aggressing on other people to do everything it does. It's aggressing to collect its taxes. It's aggressing to create its regulatory bodies. It's forcing it on this broad population that just so happens to live in these boundaries we call the United States of America. It is not concerned with actual individual consent to this kind of thing. So I think if we looked at government differently, if we looked at it as something where I literally get together with my neighbors down the street and, voluntarily form certain bodies, sure, I'm not going to say we can't necessarily have, we can't create roads in that body and there'll be a disaster. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true. But I think the real problems stem from the fact that the system is coercive. And, there are probably, sometimes the post office probably runs efficiently, and I get my mail every day. There are things that the government does that I'm not, ragingly angry about. But at the end of the day, I think we really need to scale it back and look at things from sort of an intellectual and a moral standpoint and say, is this right or wrong? Not do as much as looking at, is this run efficiently? Is this run properly? If that makes sense. And if I'm dodging the question here, feel free to call me out because sometimes I just ramble. And that's okay.
Mark.
Yeah. Hey, Dan.
How you doing? This is Daryl. You supported the father. What do you feel about the son, Rand Paul?
Well, I have mixed views. I mean, I think in many ways we've been, us at Lions of Liberty have been big Rand Paul critics. One of our contributors, Brian McWilliams, he has a weekly article called, and this is a really bad pun, guys. I'm gonna make you ready for it, but sometimes bad puns are fun. It's called Rand Paul pluses and minuses. Rand pluses and minuses, basically. And every week he analyzes Rand Paul's statements and that kind of thing. And the fact is, like any other politician, he's a mixed bag. And I think the main difference is that he's the son of Ron Paul. So all of us libertarian and liberty-leaning folk are really, maybe not as much now, but definitely when he first ran for Senate, we're seeing him as the next coming, as the sort of the guy to take that mantle and to lead the charge and maybe to become president and make us all free. And I think that's just I think that was a faulty way to look at it with Ron Paul. I think it's a faulty way to look at it with Rand Paul. But I think we do need to hold him to the fire in a sense, because when you are considered the sort of liberty leader, for right or for wrong, we need to just not blindly support anyone, really. And maybe I blindly supported Ron Paul for a time, and that's true. But at the end of the day, I think when Rand says things that I don't really jive with libertarianism or liberty position, I think it's important to call him out on that. And that doesn't mean I hate Rand Paul or dislike Rand Paul. I probably agree with Rand Paul on 97 or 98% of things, as opposed to the 99 that I agree with Ron Paul on. But I might be very passionate about that 1 or 2% too. So, I don't know if I'll necessarily be campaigning for him. I definitely think he's the best politician out there and the best guy with a national stage. And I probably agree with he said some really great things, especially after the death of Eric Garner, and how he's really talked about the laws and the overcriminalization of everything, and how that's going to lead to these encounters between everyday citizens and police more often than not, or more often than they would if we weren't making every act people didn't like a criminal act. I think he's done a lot of good things. I don't agree with some votes he's taken. I don't agree with his stance on sanctions. I don't agree with sanctions as a general philosophy, because sanctions do target really the citizens of countries or people that might be wanting to trade with other citizens of certain countries. So I'm completely opposed to that. But, at the end of the day, he's probably going to be a major subject on our website either way, just because there's so much focus on him. But that focus gives us a kind of an opportunity to talk about certain issues, whether he's right or wrong about them. It raises the opportunity to draw some attention to certain things. And I think it's a net positive, though. I think he's, we got to start somewhere. And of all the politicians in there, there's some other good ones. We got in Congress, we've got Thomas Massey, Justin Amash, guys like that. But on the scale of tyrant to libertarian hero, I think he's much closer to the hero side than the tyrant side. So I'll certainly support him when he's right. He's right very often, and when he's wrong.
So you think he'll run for throw his hat in for president of the United States?
Oh yeah, that's in the bag. That's 100%. I mean, I guess nothing's 100% until it's official, but he's got a whole Iowa contingency he's putting together. He's hired campaign managers. I mean, you don't do this stuff just to kick the can around. I think there's no doubt he's doing it.
What do you think about Scott Walker?
I can't say. Well, first of all, I don't want to say. I got to say, I don't know a ton about him other than what we've seen in the media and the whole union hoopla that was going on the other year. So, I don't want to make too much of a comment because I haven't really looked into them that much. On the surface, I would say I'm not impressed. I mean, he doesn't really stand out to me as being drastically different from your sort of establishment type Republicans. But I would probably have to do a little more research into him to really give a more thorough analysis of it.
Now, you heard about the judge's ruling in Jersey requiring the state to fund the pension? Have you heard? Did you hear about that out?
What was it? I'm sorry, what was that again?
There was a judge that ruled in New Jersey that making the state be required to fund the pension, costing the state, $2.85 billion more, that they have to figure out where to get the money from.
Oh, to fund the pension, is that what you said?
Yeah. I don't know if you heard anything about that. You're out in California now, right, Mark?
Yeah, I am in California. One of our contributors, who, like I mentioned, is the one you met, Dom Sidoti. He is probably more in tune with, New Jersey politics than I am. But I mean, a lot of this stuff is very complicated when you talk about pensions and things like that, because our system is so sort of distorted, where everything is socialized. So whenever something happens, whatever that thing is, everyone is going to call for the government to do something about it. So, obviously, a lot of these people, I don't know who the pensions are for specifically. Is it for the state employees in general, or is that just like specifically a teacher's thing?
I think it's the
state employees, right?
State employees, and I think teachers as well.
Yeah, I think teachers are on their own contract as well. And this has been there has been no victory, as far as I know, to date, where the pensions, the state or local employees, public employees, have had to give back or take a cut on pensions, which means that a lot of states, and particularly municipalities like Stockton out in California, the majority of their tax money is now going into paying the pensions of employees who worked, 10, 20 years ago, and you're getting no services. There's an interesting case in your state, though, which we're just reporting out here, where I don't know if you saw this or not, in fact, but there's a public school teacher, and she has taken her case, and it's gone to the Supreme Court. It's been fast-tracked, where she and 10 other teachers have petitioned not to belong to the teachers' union, and say that teaching should be a right-to-work situation where she doesn't have to pay union dues. Have you seen anything about that case out there?
I haven't heard about that case specifically. I know there's always a lot of conversation about the teachers' unions here, and I think that when we try to look at situations like this, it's kind of difficult because, on the one hand, I mean, I totally am for the right to work in theory. You're talking to someone who's crossed picket lines to work before, because if someone's offering me a work and these guys say I can't work, well, guess what? I need to work. So I've done that before. I'm definitely not like pro-union in that sense, but it's very difficult because in a sort of a society where our things are funded differently, where you have schools, say, funded by X amount of people that want to fund a school, and those schools might have a contract with a union at some point. I don't see anything wrong with unions conceptually, I guess is what I'm saying, in terms of if people want to voluntarily join together, form a union, voluntarily, decide to use that leverage to negotiate with their employer. I think that's fine. I think the problem comes in when the government gets behind that union and then tells that employer, no, you have to negotiate with them, and if you don't, well, you have to. I think the company should have the option of not hiring that union if they aren't fans of the way they're doing things. So then when we get to the situation where schools are publicized, everything's publicized, every state service is publicized, well, now you get people fighting over the whole thing. You get people who don't want the union. You get people who want more on their pensions. You get taxpayers who are pissed off about how much the pensions that they have to pay suddenly for all these people, many of which the services they might not want. They might not have kids in school. They might not like the things that the police departments are doing. So I think at the core of these issues, there is so much sort of fighting that goes over it because nothing is based on private property. Nothing is based on individual consent. Nothing is based on voluntary associations. We're all kind of coerced in one way or another based on where we live, whether it's at the local level, or the state level, or the federal level. We're coerced into these socialized systems, and we're pretty much forced to just fight over the goods, if you will. And I think that's kind of the source of the issue. I do have to hop off in a couple minutes, guys, but feel free to ask me a couple more questions. I should be able to stay on for another minute or two with you.
As Joe was saying about the pensions, I mean, if you look what happened in Detroit and the deal that they made in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s, and basically bankrupt the city of Detroit of pensions. And,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and will New Jersey be bankrupt?
New Jersey is bankrupt.
Yeah, I know, but
financially they are in.
Are you talking morally or financially?
Both.
We've been morally bankrupt since day one.
Yeah.
This is the Soprano State, by the way.
Yeah, but as is Soprano State, but one of the things is that taxes. If where's Christie gonna get the money from? And as that's the case, he gets the money and pay it. Taxes will go up, and there'll be more people leaving the state of New Jersey and going to Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi.
Elsewhere. But if you take Christie out of the picture, because he's just an individual running in a position, it's the whole thing of the government's role in society, which is what I always question, which is what is their specific role, and if you do have a role, like the founder said, limit it. Limit it to very little things that relate to functions to create some sort of organization. And sure, you might use different methods, like the metric system versus the speed limits versus kilometers. Like that's just a decision that a government makes just so that there's conformity amongst the group. But I don't think they have the right to control our lives and make legislation that says this is what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
As long as you don't harm life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness.
Mark, we got to go into a station break. We'll be right back. Anybody want to ask any questions, you can give us a call at 609.
Yeah, Mark, you said you had to go soon?
Mark, you have to go? Or you can stay
Yeah, I
on?
do. I actually do have a podcast to record in a couple of minutes here.
All right. Well, Mark, we thank you for coming on.
And thank you. Have a good night. We'll keep listening.
I'd be happy to come on again sometime, and maybe when I have a little more time to stay on with you guys. Sure.
No problem.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in.
This is the OnFire Show at HamiltonRadio.net. Give us a call, 609-800-1003. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. This is the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Nothing could be finer than to sell more cotton and peanuts to international markets like Cuba. But Cubans can't buy your products because our politicians won't let them sell their sugar here. In fact, Americans pay 5 times the world price on sugar. If you think that protective tariffs make no sense, then you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. The information's free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle. Call Andrew Martino, Farmers Insurance, for all your insurance needs. Mr. Martino will give you the professionalism you expect from an experienced insurance agency. With Farmers Insurance, you'll get the maximum coverage at competitive pricing. For a quick quote, contact Andrew Martino at 609-256-3364. 609-256-3364. Email Andrew at andrew.albright@farmersagency.com. That's ANDREW.ALBRIGHT@farmersagency.com. And Facebook, Andrew at Andrew Martino of Farmers. That's ANDREWMARTINO of Farmers. Mention this ad to Andrew to let him know you heard this right here on HamiltonRadio.net.
Whether you're challenged with dry, brittle, flaky skin, oily skin, or your skin is simply dull and lifeless, I've got a great skincare line for you. It's called Tazati, T-A-Z-A-T-I. At Tazati.com, you can order products online that are so pure and natural, your skin will come alive with radiance and vitality. You see, Tazati organic skincare products use deep, hydrating moisturizers with natural elements like aloe vera, olive squalene, and shea butter, rich and proven to replenish your skin, yet never greasy. Also, if you suffer from adolescent or menopause acne, you can shop online for Tazati's gentle two-step cleanser, which heals acne by balancing your pH, ultimately putting a stop to skin eruptions for a clean, clear complexion. And the popular Vanishing Elite product can be applied to your face and neck to help combat dark spots for a smooth, even complexion. Place your order today and see what a few of the many satisfied Tazati customers are saying. Go to Tazati.com.
Are you feeling sluggish by lunch, or is the lunch you had making you feel sluggish? Do you play sports and need that extra push during the game? Are you a college student and need to stay up late to do those reports? Well, why not try Rebound FX by Longevity? Nowadays, you not only need a sports drink to provide you with quick, sustained energy, but you also need a drink that will supply you with the essential nutrients that need to be replenished to support an overall healthy body. Unlike other sports drinks, Rebound FX is a high-energy drink that offers a balance of antioxidants, natural herbs, and important minerals, including Longevity's plant-derived minerals blend. Rebound FX is rich in nutrients and antioxidants such as vitamins A, C, and E. It also contains high doses of essential B vitamins. And don't forget the Rebound FX Sports Energy Collection. Make sure that you're always equipped with fuel for exercise, long days at work, or any other activity requiring sustained energy. Rebound FX comes in a variety of blends to best suit your needs. You can keep some Rebound FX stick packs in your gym bag or purse while on the go, and cans or liquid supplements stored in your fridge. Rebound FX will always be at the palm of your hands for a natural energy boost. And don't forget, Rebound FX is more than just a sports drink, it's absolute performance. So purchase your Rebound right now on HamiltonRadio.net and click on Longevity's banner. When you purchase your Rebound, don't forget to buy some for your family, your friends, your teammates, and so on. Remember, Rebound is for everyone.
Everybody loves oldies.
All right!
And you'll love them even more when you listen every weekend.
Great music. I love it.
Here at Hamilton Radio.
Welcome back to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Nothing could be finer than to sell more cotton and peanuts to international markets like Cuba. But Cubans can't buy your products.
Hey, you're back with On Fire, and I'd like to thank our guest was Marc.
Marc Clair from the Lions of Liberty.
Lions of Liberty.
Podcast and blog site. Check them out.
All right. You can Google that, too. And
lionsofliberty.com.
All right. And if anybody would like to give us a call, you can call us at 609-800-1003. We have a guest comes on about 9:45, and his name is?
George Donnelly.
George Donnelly.
Yeah, and some of the stories on the Lions of Liberty site talks about a 72-year-old New Jersey teacher faces 10 years in prison for an antique pistol. That's one story that they have. They have a story about a doctor out of Oklahoma who has they did a podcast with him talking about a free market surgery center. Mm-hmm. And, there's some good articles. Actually, Tom Wood quotes, I love interviews who know how to have a conversation instead of ticking off a canned list of questions. Marc Clair of the Lions of Liberty podcast is a great example. So,
wow.
From Tom Woods.
You know, we're talking
That's high
about
praise.
this money that's Christie going to have to come up with our government, and I guarantee you, we're going to get taxed. We're going to get taxed to death.
Well, if you want to talk about taxes, it's a question of if you want to keep handing money over to this government by the use of force, then you're playing their game. My theory would be In July, you have everyone put their amount of what they want to contribute for the next year. From that, you got your budget of revenue, and you live within the means of what people are willing to give you, not by the threat of a gun, the threat of arrest, the threat of anything that they keep doing. So, I mean, I think that would be a better free market system, and of course tell the government they have to live within these means, which is what people are willing to give over.
Can we just tell them to go to hell?
Well, I mean, again, the state or the Fed are just creations out of thin air. That is sort of the idea of creating entities.
We need to create something, guys.
So
we need to create something.
We did. We created the OnFire News Network.
Yeah, but we're going to going to create something else.
No, we need is the ability to tax now.
Yeah, tax. Yeah.
No,
Tax Day rally, April what?
15th.
April 15th.
We know where your people in the chat room are, and you each owe us $1,500.
We want you all to support the Tax Day rally. You can go to the OnFire News Network, onfirenn.com, and go to Tax Day rally. And it's about supporting and helping out. And we want everybody to come out, tell your friends about it. We want people to email you about it. We're going to have some great speakers. And we're going to talk about the issues of taxes. We're going to talk about the gas tax. We're going to talk about Common Core. That's two of the things that are definitely going to be speaking about, Common Core and the gas tax.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we all know, I mean, government's costing us more money each year, and they have to find ways to take the money from us. And if they use different tactics and they get away with it, then I mean, we will continue down the wrong path.
And when it comes to gas tax, there's a national gas tax coming down the road, and then there's a state gas tax. And so,
actually, Fred is saying it here on the OnFire News Network, the Chicken Man, that the internet will be taxed.
Wow.
And he said there is no way the Fed is going to leave the internet untaxed. No way. And when it happens, you can say that Fred the Chicken Man said it.
All right, Fred the Chicken Man. But I think that, once again, when it talks about we talk about all these taxes, and there are people right now who are at home accepting it, who really don't know about what's happening, what's coming down the road with the internet tax, the gas tax, and Common Core. And there are people that are sitting home watching the most craziest things on television, or doing the most crazy things, listening or watching television, and who just going along with the flow. That's going along while this country is basically ripping the heart out of Americans.
I got a question for your listeners.
Go ahead, Ruben.
What do you guys feel about Obamacare? And if you didn't sign up for it, they're gonna take that tax money. They call it share revenue.
Oh, you're talking about the tax on the penalty on
penalty?
The tax
yeah,
now?
The penalty.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing because of course this is the beginning of that function showing up on a tax return, which is the question of do you have health insurance or not? And again, I don't think it's their business to know if you want to cover your family with paying an insurance company to end up never using it and they just make the revenue from it, or again, like catastrophic issues, I mean, that you should cover yourself for just in case, God forbid, you have a major issue and the cost of the delivery of service is way above your means. But I also think you can negotiate with the hospital.
And also, with the whole Obamacare, they talked about the chip. That's going to be interesting. And all
actually, I read that in the bill.
Yeah, all this is going to be happening under, it's going to be happening under the Obamacare or under Obama administration, or under whoever's going to be president of the United States after Obama, which I'm predicting.
Yeah, the RFID chip, I think, was on page. Don't quote me on it.
What are they?
Page 1055, I believe.
Implemented 2016. That's next year.
What's that? The RFID chip for what?
Anybody who has Obamacare, and if you want to continue with it, you have to accept the RFID chip in you.
Meaning like injected into your body?
Yeah. Right.
Seriously?
Yeah. Seriously, it's in the bill, and I think it's page 1055.
Who wrote this bill?
The
healthcare industry.
It's 20,000 pages long, over 11 million words. The thing is,
I'm sure everybody
it's about 8 feet tall. The bill is like 8 feet tall.
And this is something that people should rebel against and speak out against, because we always talked about, Joe and Neil. I don't know if you've learned about this whole thing called the mark of the beast.
The Mark of the Beast?
The Mark of the Beast. And
666.
the 666, the Mark of the Beast, with the idea is that
Iron Maiden has a great song called The Number of the Beast.
Yeah, the number of the
That
beast.
is it.
That is it. We got a caller.
Here comes our 9:45 caller, I will bet.
Who?
George.
Hello, George.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, this is George.
This is George Donnelly, right?
Hey, George Donnelly. Welcome to the OnFire show.
How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. We're having a lot of fun. We're talking about some serious issues right now happening in our country and right now in the state of New Jersey.
But, this is Joe, and welcome to the OnFire show. George, can you hear me okay?
You're cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay, we've heard that. Okay, but why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit? I kind of came at you looking at, sort of came through a route of jury rights, but I also discovered that you were part of a larger something called Shield Mutual Defense and Mutual Aid, which seems to be a privatization of the protections that people expect from government and protection from government. You want to tell us a little bit about that and how you came to that?
Sure. Well, it all started about 6 or 7 years ago when an activist in New Hampshire was facing 3 months in jail for some minor silly offense. And I thought, all of these people are being persecuted by government bureaucrats and whatnot. Really, these cases kind of die in obscurity. People don't get the support they need. And if only we would work together, then we could all support each other when we get into these situations. And by working collectively together like this, we can not only help each other out of the immediate danger, but we can also, make bureaucrats and cops and judges and whatnot think twice before they try it again with someone else.
So what exactly happens? Let's say that I join your network and I get arrested because I throw some peanut shells out the window of my car, and then I get a $200 littering fine. I know somebody that happened to. How do you come to my aid?
Well, basically, usually the cases that we handle are a lot more serious than just a ticket. But generally speaking, what we do is we use public relations and we use political pressure and other nonviolent strategies to communicate your situation to the world, to let people know what's happening to you so that they can help you, and also so that we can put pressure on the people who are harassing you, who may have, in one case, put a mom into a mental hospital, in another case, put an activist into federal prison on false, trumped-up charges. We can, in the past, we've raised as much as $6,000 towards legal fees, towards hiring a lawyer for an activist, and we've also generated lots of media to get attention onto, the miscarriage of justice that's occurring, so that people can come to your aid, as well as to put pressure on these bureaucrats or whatever, so that they know that our customer is not just another person who's going to fall in line like a good little slave and do what they're told to do. No, this person is connected to an international network of liberty activists who are going to raise hell, who are going to call, flood the bureaucrats' phones with calls, who are going to actively speak up in the media, and, generally raise hell.
Mm-hmm. From the area code that's listed on your website, I'm taking it that you operate out of the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. Is that correct?
Well, I'm originally from Philadelphia, but I also travel quite a bit.
Okay, because I was just wondering if there's any cases, and if you were familiar with the Shanine Allen case that was here in Philadelphia and New Jersey over the past summer, and if you guys had any involvement in that.
No. That was the case where she was caught with. She told the New Jersey trooper or whatever that she had a legal firearm, correct?
Right. She was a licensed firearm owner in Pennsylvania, was driving to the Jersey Shore, didn't realize that her license did not apply to New Jersey, and she she basically she was stopped on a traffic violation. She volunteered that she had her firearm license with her and the gun, and then they were going to put her in jail for 10 years. And it seemed to me this is the kind of situation, though, that you're talking about. You weren't involved with it, but a lot of people came to her aid financially, as well as in terms of letter writing, internet postings, rallies, etc. And eventually the state and the county had to back down on that, and they came up with some new intervention. I guess they gave her a good talking to and let her go.
Intervention.
Yeah.
And it's serious, and it's been like that going around the country, but all right in New Jersey, and it doesn't pay to be honest. And she was one of the individuals that she was just a decent, honest person, and the prosecutor said, you go to hell, and we're gonna lock you up, and we're gonna prosecute you.
Right. So how does someone become a member or join Shield Mutual? How do you go about that, and then how do you become a part of that network?
Oh, you can just go to shieldmutual.com/join, and for $60 a year, an individual can be covered. For $90 a year for a family, and it's real simple. We also help people because visibility is so important. Because not everybody gets the help they need. A lot of people are in these situations, and they're paralyzed with fear, and they don't know anybody who gives them any kind of advice other than, just do whatever they tell you to get out of it, which often backfires. And so, just going to shieldmutual.com and signing up, and you get connected with a community of people, and, we're going to be there for you in the worst case. You can be there for others in their worst-case situation. And in the meantime, we can help you become more visible as an activist, as a business owner, and connect you with the networks you need to get done the things that you need.
Now, George, do you have a law degree or no?
No, I am not a lawyer.
What's your background? Just if you can give the audience information on your background. Just so.
Sure. I graduated in history from the University of Chicago. I've worked in banking. I've worked in teaching, public relations, online marketing, systems administration. So really, my background is in writing. It's in preparing media to go out, being persuasive, targeting things to reach certain audiences, to motivate reactions, and just to get information out there, so that and organizing people as well to support each other.
Oh, okay. Hey, this is Daryl Brooks, and we're looking at your page right now, and I see you got my friend in Liberty, the guy, my brother from Arizona, on your page. And he's also a part of the OnFire News Network. He has the site Declaration of Independence. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Do you mean Ernie?
Ernie, yes. Ernie Hancock.
Sure. I love Ernie.
Yeah, I was on his show a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And, and he was a big Ron Paul supporter.
Yeah. Ernie's a real special guy. I like him a lot.
Now, were you a Ron Paul supporter, George?
Yes, I was. I contributed to his campaign in 2008. I contributed to the blimp and all that kind of stuff.
Now, nice. Where are you located?
Well, actually, right now I'm in South America.
On vacation or living?
I have family connection here, and it's a nice place to stay, especially during those cold winters up there.
Sweet.
Wow.
I think it might be our record furthest caller now at this point.
South America.
Let me, going back to where we started with this, you're also involved in jury rights, is that correct?
That's right, yes. As part of the Shield Mutual strategy for helping people who are in trouble, we've started the Jury Rights Project, which is an effort to educate people, potential jurors, about their rights when they're sitting as jurors.
And what they might be other than the fact that they get like a day off from work and $5 for lunch?
If that. Well, the thing is that jurors, has been, shown in movies and whatnot. Jurors have the power to vote their conscience when serving as jurors. Judges will tell you that jurors are only fact finders, that juries can only decide if this witness is credible or this evidence is believable or if the bar of reasonable doubt has been breached. But the fact is that juries, since at least 800 years ago when this right was codified in the Magna Carta in England, juries can judge the law as well as the fact. And if they don't like the law that a defendant is charged under, if that law they think is unjust or being unjustly applied, such as a law-abiding firearm owner being persecuted, or such as someone facing a decade in prison for possession of a small amount of marijuana or something, then they can use their conscience and they can ignore the law, they can set it aside, they can say this law is not just, and they can find the defendant not guilty.
And how often do you find that to happen these days? Or is it sort of a great idea but not put into implementation?
It's a great idea that is selectively used, probably as it should be, and it's hard to track because jury deliberations are secret, and these things just, nobody really tracks this. But the fact is that from time to time, news comes out, such as in Montana recently, where they have discovered that they're unable to seat enough jurors to make up a jury for marijuana possession cases. And so effectively, in that jurisdiction, the laws against possession of marijuana have been nullified because jurors refuse to convict. The same thing is true in Washington, D.C. And so even though that law is still on the books, it's effectively no law at all because the prosecutors won't prosecute people for it anymore.
Mark, I want to ask you a question. I was watching Charlie Rose last night, and he had the district attorney of New York City on, and he asked the question. Charlie Rose asked the district attorney, "What's the percentage of people that are in prison that are innocent?" And he said less than 5%. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a loaded question. These days, there are so many laws on the books, and the government has such access to our lives that they can find anything, and convict us of it and say that we're guilty. But the fact is that a lot of these laws are silly, ridiculous things that harm no one, when you violate them. A lot of them are victimless crimes. And I saw a statistic recently that in 2011, just a few short years ago, 86% of prisoners in the United States were in there for victimless crimes. Victimless crimes are crimes where no person or property is alleged to have been injured. There are things like, mutual transactions by mutual consent, such as where people buy or sell drugs, or possession of drugs, or parking ticket kind of things. And so when you put so many people into prison over victimless crimes, they may be guilty of those crimes, but the crimes, the laws themselves are completely bogus because there is no victim. It's not a legitimate crime.
So do you see any kind of change happening right now in our system, or, let's say 10 to 15 years down the road? Do you see any kind of big change, major changes happening with our judicial system right now in America, or you can see other states that are kind of making some changes?
Well, I think the idea of victimless crimes is the concept of the victimless crime is making its way throughout society as more states legalize, marijuana, and as gun rights, are being firmed up, in different places. And so I hope that through efforts such as what Jim Babb and I have been doing, the jury rights campaigns and the Fully Informed Jury Association as well, all of our attempts to inform people about their rights as jurors, I do think that it will have a big impact. I think it's already having a significant impact, and we'll see that in the future, fewer, prosecutors will find it more and more difficult to convict people on victimless crimes.
Well, I could jokingly say I think victimless crimes is the gateway drug to victim crimes. So we should try to stop the victimless crimes before we have a ton of criminals out there. Is that the philosophy we should have? And I say that jokingly, of course, because George, I don't know if you've been listening to the show. I of course am enjoying the challenge of learning the legal system and challenging it to the utmost in respects to submitting legal questions that to the state when it's a state versus the individual. So this past week I submitted paperwork to charge the state with violating my First Amendment right of redress because I've been asking plenty of questions to them and they don't answer them, and I'm waiting to see what the judge says on it. So for me, I have such comfort level going in front of judges or prosecutors because as a CPA, it's very easy for me to be at their level of a discussion. And I don't think they speak higher than us. They just speak in the language of Latin that no one learns. And they have created this very challenging logical puzzle of the law. But I still think if you do it right, you will win victimless crimes because the states don't have rights over you. The Fed doesn't have rights over you. But the challenge is to get to that point because, like I say, the information that I've been shown by a guy named Clyde Hyde on understanding the legal system and the kind of research that he did on the law. So, I agree. Victimless crimes, if there's no victim, then how do you accuse them of violating the law? So.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, at the end of the day, in the court system, it's really stacked against you. The prosecutor and the judge, their paychecks are signed by the same guy. They're really playing for the same team. And the law is so voluminous now that, you'd be hard. They'll always dig something out to get you. It's stacked.
Well,
in fact, they stack juries against us as well.
George,
I think it's respectable. It's very respectable, what you're trying to do. But at the same time, try not to get sucked too deep into the game.
Well, I tell my friends and my family and clients I will never put someone else at risk unless I know that I've gone through the challenge, gone down that road less traveled, so that when I come back, I could say, you know what? It was a scary path because, of course, it was the unknown. And there are moments where I feel like I've gone too far. Mm-hmm. But then I say from the crazy standpoint that there are definitely signs that show up in your life that point you in the right direction. When I was dealing with an IRS case, there was news reports that every week would lead me to get to the next person in line so that I would get to the top person to discuss it with. So I think for me the challenge will be seeing what happens from this case, because I think if the judge does what the role of the judge is, which is just to mediate between two parties, and I had said that to the judge, which was Robin Brown out of East Brunswick. I said, Judge, the state has not answered me, and your role is to make them answer me. Because that's your role. So all you have to do is say, you're right, Neil. State, please get back to him. And if you don't get back to him, then I'm going to rule in Neil's favor because you're ignoring what he has a complaint against. So, but I do still feel like you said, some judges don't get that. And they do take the prosecutor's side over the defendant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because it just is a cash-making machine right there.
Yeah, definitely, and I guess we'll see on the no-fly list.
No, I'm a free man. I mean, the people.
No fly list?
No, I think. Look,
you won't be on that list?
No.
That is all said and done.
I'll be allowed to go where I want. I treat everyone with the utmost respect, no matter color, race, creed, belief. I mean, you could think differently than me, and that's fine because that's your opinion. But at the same time, I think the underlying factor is I'm fighting always for the individual first, and the individual is the highest person on ever. I mean, when it comes to freedom.
Let me ask you, George, a question. And when it comes to educating juries, I don't know if you're familiar with a gentleman named Julian Heiklin at all.
Sure, I know Julian.
You know Julian.
Big guy.
Yeah, and I know Julian has suffered personally a lot because of jury nullification, because he puts his body on the line, and it's an old body at that, and he's been thrown in, the jails of New York City and all these other places for the weekends and things like that. And he does this out on the steps of the federal courthouses and all that. Where do you guys do this? Are you out in public pamphleting? Are you running seminars? How do you go about educating jurors?
Well, the old way, I'll call it, is to go out in front of the courthouses and hand out pamphlets. And I've done that with Julian several times in the Philadelphia area. And in fact, one time I was ambushed and framed by U.S. Marshals. I was attacked and thrown into a cage, which was not much fun. But with the Jury Rights Project, that's a risky thing to do, is to go in front of a courthouse and hand out pamphlets. So with the Jury Rights Project, my strategy is to reach people online. And I have a few ways of doing that. One way is to reach people in real time on social media and via Google searches, people who just got their jury duty notices and who are searching online for information about jury duty, and send them some information, or reach them via Google Ads, just in the moment when they're searching. And another way is just to offer courses to people, to interested people, such as the Jury Rights 101 course, which I'm offering right now. Anyone can sign up for that. It's free at jrp.io. Just put jrp.io into your browser, and you can sign up right there. And we also have some other strategies in motion, but for now, those are the two main ones. And as we build up a group of people who are experts, who become experts in jury rights, then they can pass along the information to other people in their local communities without anyone having to go in front of a courthouse, and risking their necks like Julian and Jim Babb and I have done. Because that can get, when they charge you, when they throw you into a cage and, charge you with all kinds of crimes, it can get really expensive and painful real quick.
All right. Well, speaking of Jim Babb, he's going to be here in Jersey in another couple of weeks. It'll be 3 weeks, I guess, at the New Jersey Libertarian Party state convention. He'll be a speaker there. So and he'll so if you want to learn more about jury nullification, I urge you to come out to the convention in Hightstown, not Hopewell, and come out and hear Jim Babb and some other some really interesting speakers, and we'll tell Jim Babb we were talking to you.
Yeah, and tell Jim. And tell Jim Babb Darrell Brooks said hi. I remember when I first met Jim Babb, it was at a big rally in Pennsylvania. I think it was in Harrisburg. They had a rally in Harrisburg, then they had a rally in Philadelphia, and Ron Paul rally, Campaign for Liberty rally, and and he's a great patriot. I mean, he helped develop the. When I was running for state assembly, me and another guy, and he designed our postcards, door knockers. And Jim Babb, he gave us a great deal because we were running as libertarians for the state assembly, and he's a real patriot. If he can help you, he can help you.
Great. Well,
he just said he never liked New Jersey State House. He just doesn't. He's something about New Jersey State House that he does, no parts of.
Okay.
Jim Babb is a great guy,
Yeah.
great guy. I've known him for many years now. He is just so committed to our cause, of liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great speaker as well. I just can't say enough great things about him.
Now, if you know Jim Babb, you have to know Lou Jasikoff.
Oh yeah, sure. I know Lou. Absolutely.
Yeah. Lou helped put together the he's part of the whole Mudraker Independent Gazette, OnFire News Network. Everything is all linked together, and his newspaper, the Independent Gazette, and it's doing pretty good up in the Wilkesboro, Scranton area, and other places. Lou's a great. He's another great patriot.
He's doing some great work to expose local corruption.
Oh, yeah.
Really, all learn a lot from him, I think.
Yeah, and I just, matter of fact, I talked to him today, and Lou is just just keep on. He keeps pushing. He's so excited about bringing the truth out, and when it comes down to it, that's all about is what it is the truth. And, with these, we have corrupt politicians, we got, corrupt prosecutors, corrupt judges. And, even when I was watching Charlie Rose show and they had the district attorney on it, and they talked about, Charlie Rose asked the question, what happens when you have a prosecutor that withholds evidence that could free a person? And we've known that's been a situation for years. What do you think about that? And these type prosecutors that withhold evidence that basically can free individuals.
Yeah, that's a serious crime, and I think it's an outgrowth, really, of the monopoly that the government has, a legal monopoly that they have on resolving disputes, and punishing crime and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why, long-term, really, that whole function needs some market competition in the form of, private arbitration and whatnot.
Yeah, they were talking about they talked about two cases, but one of the cases they talked about as those, I think it was 5 or 6 kids in New York City. What happened in the 90s or late 80s, and they raped a woman in New York City, and they had I don't know if I'm sure you heard about the case. It was called what's the big park in New York City?
Central Park.
Central Park.
Central?
Yeah, it was a Central Park. I think it was 6, and they were. Individuals, these kids were teenagers, and they were accused of raping a woman. And basically, about 4 or 5 years, 3-4 years ago, they found out that these individuals were innocent, but it was pushed by the police department and the district attorney to find, get these guys, lock these guys up. They did it, and we'll deal with it later. And basically, these guys were they were in prison now for close to 20 years, and basically they just came out and they found out that they didn't do it; it was somebody else. But I mean, this is a case of historic issues that are happening with even in our New York City Police Department, with all around the country.
It's outrageous. The justice system is supposed to work such that it's better to let a dozen guilty men go free than to cage one innocent man. And the fact is that over the last 20, 30 or more years, with collusion between prosecutors and judges, and with prosecutors stacking the jury system such that it's essentially a rubber stamp now, that is entirely out of whack.
Now, talk about stacking the jury system for those who don't know.
So basically, people think that anybody can be selected for jury duty, but the fact is that in different jurisdictions, the authorities, the prosecutor, district attorney, whatever, they will limit who can get onto a jury. So they may limit their pool to only people who have driver's licenses, or they may limit their pool only to property owners, or they may tilt the pool towards people who have government jobs. And in fact, even when they get all of the members of the jury pool into a situation where some of them could be seated, the fact is that if you have a small business, or if you have a job with a regular business, it's going to be a lot harder for you to be seated on that jury compared to someone who is a government employee. Because the government employee is easy. It can get time off of their job easy enough. And so they tilted in many ways, first by limiting the initial pool, and second, they favor the inclusion of government employees on the pool. And it doesn't help that they don't pay jury people very much money. Government employees, when they're going to serve on the jury, they get their regular government pay. They don't really lose out. It's almost like they're double dipping or something. And so what you end up with is people on the jury who are used to taking orders from government leaders, who are going to do what they're told in order to keep their government jobs, and who are already in favor of law and order, and trusting whatever government tells them to do.
So, George,
what's your chance? What's your chance of being acquitted there? It's not very good.
Well, look, I try to look at rainbows and unicorns, and I hope that a jury pool, after hearing a conversation on freedom and liberty, and that the rights are, of course, for individuals are higher than if it's against the state or the Fed, that the person realizes that he's only voting against himself by saying that he feels the state has rights over you, because he's just making himself a slave or an indentured servant to the state or to the Fed. So the case, of course, going back to last week, I was at a municipal court where there is no jury. So when it came time to having the judge hear my case just to set a trial date, I had said after I said, there's papers I submitted, I need you to read through them. I said, I still have a few more questions. And, of course, one of the questions was, do I have a right to a trial by jury? And she, of course, went into the aspect of this is really an administrative court. It's a municipal court where the judge makes the ruling, which I had said to her, I still reserve that right, especially in my own trial, because I feel a jury would vote in my favor. At the same time, I said to her, I hope that she grants my motion for dismissal. So I think, yes, it could be stacked against you if you have a good trial attorney picking out the jurors. I have an attorney that works in my office. He was on the show last week, Kevin Gilmartin, and we discuss all those. And he says, some of this stuff is lessons in class that you learn of how to get the best jury so that you'll win your case over the other side. So
I think that's very admirable, and I want to, I want to agree with you. At the same time, I've seen many people who have been facing serious charges in court, even with juries. And, their ability to defend themselves, to introduce evidence or to make statements or to talk about liberty or whatever, has been strictly limited by the judge. And the jury will turn, a blind eye.
Look,
a blind ear.
I would hope you're wrong in that case, and I say, only time will tell for me is if I will have a jury trial for something, and I will get to speak on the law and not on the infraction of what happened, because the law is your rights are always retained by you.
Well, if things start to go seriously south for you, then we go to George's other side of the enterprise here, which is the Shield Mutual Defense.
Yes.
And then we started exerting political pressure and media pressure to pull your chestnuts out of the fire.
Yeah, definitely. George, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I've seen that happening to a number of individuals, and seen it happen to my
Duke LaCrosse, right? The Duke LaCrosse case.
It's not just it's cases was happening, and when you look at New Jersey, and I've seen some things, it's just like, wow. Even a situation happened to me, and when I talk to Babs and me and Lou Jasikoff, it's just amazing what these prosecutors will try and do, and what they will do, and these judges, they all, and the district attorneys and the police department, and it's like playing a big game, and a game which they will lose eventually. I remember Martin Luther King and some of his quotes. He said that like no lie can live forever, and that truth crushed the earth will rise again, and that truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown stands God within the shadows, keeping watch above His own. And I definitely believe that will happen, and because it has to change. You can, this government can no longer keep allowing destroy people's lives and destroy people's families. And when you destroy one person's life and more, you're not just destroying their lives, but destroying a generation, the next generation of their family members. And I've seen that all over this country and things that have happened. And it's serious. And we have about 2 minutes to go. But what I'm going to say is I just don't understand why. People haven't rebelled against the system, because that's the only way it's going to things are going to change. We can have the nonviolent. I support the nonviolent civil disobedience direct action, and if people would follow, when Martin Luther King came on the scene, that he put together a map, and the people right now haven't followed that map. If we follow that map of nonviolent civil disobedience direct action. And we tell these prosecutors and we tell these judges and these police departments, and it's more than that. It's just also the politicians that, vote on these laws. And, we're really going to have to shake things up. And it's the Constitution's, it doesn't say we the prosecutors, it doesn't say we the judge, we the politicians, it says we the people.
Well, does George do you have a final comment before we go to commercial break and wrap up the show?
Sure, yeah. I just want to say that we haven't rebelled yet because we're too comfortable. We're not uncomfortable enough, and we're not nearly as organized as we need to be.
Yeah.
We need to be organized, and we need to keep an eye on what these prosecutors and judges and other bureaucrats are doing. Mm-hmm. And, I think if we take it step by step, we will come to a point where we are organized enough to keep these guys in check. And thanks, guys. It's been a real pleasure.
And George, what's your website again?
It's shieldmutual.com.
And is there a way to contact you on the website?
Yep, it's right there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Sure.
You got a phone number there, right? And you have an email link, which is
sure.
So, and we'll post
right there
that
on the website, and please feel free to email me anytime, anyone.
Great. We put the show notes up on our Blogspot thing. This will be available on iTunes. It'll be available on Stitcher, also on Blogger and
YouTube.
And YouTube.
And on HamiltonRadio.net, the on demand.
We will post a link to your show and the contact information, to your site and the contact information, so people know where to get a hold of you.
And the fact is, I'll send you an email the next couple of days. It'll be from me.
All right. I look forward to that.
Yeah, it'll be from OnFire News Network.
Okay.
At gmail.com.
Watching for it.
Thanks, George.
Bonus
noches.
Hey, thank you.
And check out our site, George. Check out the site, OnFire News Network.
Will do. Will do, my friends.
All right. Thank you for calling in, and enjoy yourself down in South America. And we wish we was down there with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, my God.
Okay.
In this type of cold weather.
Wish to see you.
And please let other people know about the show, George.
Will do. Will do.
All right, take care. This is the OnFire Show, and we'll be right back. We're here with HamiltonRadio.net. And if you have any last questions, give us a call at 609-800-1003. Check out that chat room, and we'll be right back. This is the OnFire Show.
We'll be right back. This is the On Fire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
If you want whole foods and more natural products while making your family healthier, visit 2285475.myforevergreen.org. That's 2285475.myforevergreen.org. Do it today.
Many products come with disclaimers to warn consumers of possible side effects. What if politicians had to do this?
So vote for your same old politician. Voting for the same politicians may lead to reduced paychecks, headaches, increased pollution, more paperwork, sweaty palms, higher crime, loss in privacy, more corporate and government power, teen drug addiction, and oily discharge.
For candidates with no harmful side effects, vote Libertarian.
Voting Libertarian may lead to more options, safety, and a peaceful society.
Learn more at lp.org or call 1-800-ELECT-US.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle.
AskMyPsychics.com is a brand new group of genuinely gifted psychic readers who really care about each and every caller. Psychics who give the best phone and chat readings on the net. Our psychics are accurate, genuine, and won't waste your time with candy-coated sugar plums and fairy tales. Only the absolute truth served with a huge side of caring and compassion. So visit AskMyPsychics.com today because while they may not tell you what you want to hear, they will tell you what you need to know. AskMyPsychics.com.
Are you feeling sluggish by lunch, or is the lunch you had making you feel sluggish? Do you play sports and need that extra push during the game? Are you a college student and need to stay up late to do those reports? Well, why not try Rebound FX by Longevity? Nowadays, you not only need a sports drink to provide you with quick, sustained energy, but you also need a drink that will supply you with the essential nutrients that need to be replenished to support an overall healthy body. Unlike other sports drinks, Rebound FX is a high-energy drink that offers a balance of antioxidants, natural herbs, and important minerals, including Longevity's plant-derived minerals blend. Rebound FX is rich in nutrients and antioxidants such as vitamins A, C, and E. It also contains high doses of essential B vitamins. And don't forget the Rebound FX Sports Energy Collection. Make sure that you're always equipped with fuel for exercise, long days at work, or any other activity requiring sustained energy. Rebound FX comes in a variety of blends to best suit your needs. You can keep some Rebound FX stick packs in your gym bag or purse while on the go, and cans or liquid supplements stored in your fridge. Rebound FX will always be at the palm of your hands for a natural energy boost. And don't forget, Rebound FX is more than just a sports drink, it's absolute performance. So purchase a Rebound right now on HamiltonRadio.net and click on Longevity's banner. When you purchase a Rebound, don't forget to buy some for your family, your friends, your teammates, and so on. Remember, Rebound is for everyone. A new advanced gym just opened right here in Hamilton, New Jersey. Primal Gym, New Jersey. They feature martial arts, combat sports, youth programs, strength and fitness, and private intense training. Primal Gym. Learn how to protect yourself in self-defense. Primal Gym is located at 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Again, that's 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Call them at 609-736-2307. Again, that's Primal Gym, New Jersey, PRIMALGYMNJ.com. Training everyday people to be champions.
Welcome back to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, you're back with the OnFire Show, and it's about 10:25. We got 5 minutes before we leave there, and we had our great set. We had George from the
Shield Mutual Defense and the jury nullification. We'll put all that stuff up on our blog spot,
and also the website. And we have Mark from
Lions of Liberty. It was a tremendous thing. And one of the things I just wanted to comment on, George, is that this has become, America has more people in prison than any place in the world, and a higher per capita amount of people in prison than any place in the world. And this is including third world countries and repressive regimes. And this is becoming, again, we talked about California early on, where there was the teachers thing. There's some interesting stuff going on in California. There's the breaking out of the teachers union. There's a civil rights case about putting the kids into the bad urban schools where they learn nothing because the teachers union cannot fire the bad teachers there. And the third thing is that is prison crowding there. That's a civil rights violation. Mm-hmm. That they are the prisons are like 2 and 3 times over capacity. They told the state to reduce that. So what the state did is they moved the prisoners to county and local jails. Now they're 2 and 3. But the whole thing is this whole idea of victimless crimes, 3 strikes you're out, and showing you're tough on crime. Mm-hmm. And we've created we've created a nation of criminals.
And it's definitely eventually is going to backfire on America.
Yeah.
And I just got some breaking news. Eddie Ray Roth found guilty of killing Chris Kyle, the American sniper case.
Ah.
Yeah, he got found guilty.
Really?
Yeah, Eddie Ray Roth. And 2 counts of murder. Yeah.
And he went through the trial with the jury, and the jury found him guilty.
Yep, found him guilty.
So
it's in Texas, right?
Boy, yes, wrong state to be found guilty in Texas. That's why I'm not going.
You're going to the chair.
Death chamber, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, death. Yeah, they don't play.
Well, look, if you mess with someone else's life, then I mean, eye for an eye,
state.
right?
Yeah, in the wrong state. Oh boy, I'm not.
Well, if you go through the whole process, and of course you're found guilty, I mean, eye for an eye is right. But if it's the jury stacked up against you, as we talked about, then I mean, we have to look at that aspect of the
wrong state
judicial system.
wrong state of Texas, boy.
You don't want to kill a war hero in Texas.
You don't want to do that. And just imagine you having this situation that you're going through now. We all have. We down in Texas. They don't play.
No.
You
should have you should have taken that to Massachusetts. If you're
yeah.
But as I said, like I'm doing my process in the court system so I can learn and pass this knowledge on to our listeners, to my friends, family, clients, everyone. People do think I'm nuts for doing it, but it is part of learning. And in the CPA society, education is vital. And when it comes to education, to me, I try to go outside the scope of what people say and question, and look at other sides of the picture, so that I can then judge it myself. And like I said, based on becoming a Ron Paul supporter and studying Mises from the Mises Institute, Free Market Theory, studying the Constitution with Tom Woods and plenty of other constitutional scholars, you do come to a conclusion that government really is just has a role. It's not an anarchistic society where there's no role for government. Government does have a role in our society, but it is limited, and because it's limited, it shouldn't cost that much to have a government. But like I said, hopefully my case will be in my favor.
Definitely.
I will be reporting each week back to you on what's happening, if they've responded or not. Right now, from my strategy, so that the listeners know what I'm doing, I did submit the redress of grievance, which of course I think they are not going to respond to. So within 30 days, I will be sending a cure letter. A cure letter is just giving them a little bit more time to cure their mistake. Then I'll do a second emergency cure, followed by a final default, which is what will be the judge is going to have to deal with. So, and I don't know if the judge is going to adjudicate this case up to a federal court, but we will see.
You got to keep on pushing and keep on trying. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, we got to look at the politics in our state, and it's a very progressive politician, progressive. And all you got to do is understand the history of the progressiveness and this progressivism, and basically it's individuals that they believe that I am smarter, I have a degree, and I am highly educated. So what we believe is what you should believe. And we're in power, and it's the whole Woodrow Wilson type concept. When it's like prohibition, we're smarter. We don't think you should drink, so you don't drink.
And unfortunately, that's someone's opinion being pushed onto someone else. And as the chat room has been great tonight, guest 14058, of course, has said government does have a role, and of course it's to work for us. Not for us to work for them.
Yeah, they got a roll of toilet paper.
No, I say, there is a function, but like I say, keep it limited. Yeah. Roll back all the BS that they've put out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Roll a toilet paper.
Yeah,
roll a toilet paper.
Roll it back and make
roll.
It. Yeah. Well, like I say, until
and it's good with elections.
When they legalize the pot, they can roll it for us.
I think that Jersey might move to that because of the
I was never good at that anyway.
$2 billion funding to the pension plan.
You wasn't good at it?
Nah, that's why I bought pipes.
Yeah.
Cannabis is definitely making a comeback as far as
they went away?
Understanding everything that they said was wrong about it seems to be right.
I don't want to talk about it.
So, But that'll be a whole nother discussion.
It is.
And actually, speaking of cannabis, there is a great
cannabis
show on HamiltonRadio.net on Mondays. It's the Fully Baked show at 1 o'clock to 2 p.m., or does it go now to 3 p.m.? 1 to 3.
We have fully baked candy over there?
And
pretty much.
The second thing is there's other shows, like on Saturday night, there's a sports show with Jim McCann
called No
Holds Bar. You also have, on Sundays, you have the preachers and the religious shows. So that's something you can check out. And, of course, most importantly, on Hamilton Radio, you have awesome rock and roll music. And besides rock and roll, you have songs from a lot of genres or generations, right? From the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, up to today. You can request it through the request line. And like I say, turn this on as your radio station. It's a great station. If you want to promote stuff, please reach out to Joe on our show. How can you be reached, Joe?
OnFire News Network.
Joe at OnFireNewsNetwork.
No, it's OnFire
News Network at gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Sorry,
we have a couple of different ones.
Do this over.
OnFire News Network
at gmail.com. That's the one that people check.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, we check, and it's definitely something that people, if you have any questions and answers, if you want to just reach out, say hi, give us a call, or email us.
Yeah, and if you like us, go to our Facebook page, like us, go to Hamilton Radio and like them. You can friend request me.
You can advertise. You can advertise around the world for as little as $20 a week here. Yeah. The rates are not high. The audience is devoted liberty lovers and a heavily involved audience, and support liberty and get the name of your brand out there.
All right, it's 10:34.